Week 4 power rankings are coming at you right now. We got a lot of changes going into this week. A couple of teams got out, a couple of teams came in. Yeah, let's get into it. But actually, before we get into it, if you're brand new, like the NFL and like the Packers, hit that subscribe button because it only takes 2 seconds. But my number 10 team, brand new in my power rankings, will be the San Francisco 49ers. They are currently 3-0, and the 3 games that they played were very, very close games. They won against the Seahawks 17-13, played against the Saints 26-21, and just beat the Cardinals on a game-winning field goal 16-15. And with Brock Purdy being out, you got George Kittle being out, Brandon Ayuk is still out. Now Nick Bosa's out for the rest of the year. You got to give the 49ers credit here. Mac Jones has been filling in pretty nice for the 49ers. He had 284 yards passing on 1 touchdown and 1 pick. He only got sacked 1 time. He also went 27 for 41. Christian McCaffrey has been doing a nice little job, 17 carries for 52 yards, no touchdowns, but Ricky Pearsall is definitely blowing up. He has 117 yards against the Cardinals. Again, with all the 49ers injuries, they've been playing really good, and you got to give him a lot of credit here. Like I said, Mac Jones filling in for Brock Purdy. Brock Purdy should be back next week, but we don't know 100%. But Mac Jones has 4 touchdowns, 1 interception so far on the year. And Christian McCaffrey, even though he's not getting a lot of rushing yards, he's had a lot of receiving yards. His highest game was 61 yards rushing against Seattle, and also he had over 50 yards in each game receiving. So Christian McCaffrey is going back to himself. He doesn't really have a lot of touchdowns, but again, 49ers are decimated with the injuries. How long are they going to be in the top 10? I'm not exactly sure, but you got to give them credit. Number 9, here we go. Moving up 1 spot from last week in my power rankings, we got the Indianapolis Colts at number 9. Daniel Jones, now granted, he hasn't had a lot of touchdowns this year, but he also hasn't turned over the ball at all, and also he's completing the ball. He has 70% in 3 of his games. He only has 3 touchdowns this year so far, but you got to give him a lot of credit. His passer rating's really high. You know, he had 228 yards against the Tennessee Titans. They also beat the they beat the Titans 41-20. They're scoring a lot of points. Their defense is playing not too bad, but man, the Colts starting 3-0 was like nobody was expecting that. And if you're mentioning the Colts offense, you have to mention Jonathan Taylor. He had 102 yards on 17 carries last week against the Titans, also 3 touchdowns, and also he had 165 yards against the Broncos defense. And we all know the Broncos defense is a legit defense. This offense has been humming. You got Tyler Warren, their first round pick, doing really good this year, leading the team receiving yards. Their team has 7 sacks on defense. They're creating turnovers. This Colts defense is doing good. Like I said, the Colts offense is doing great. I don't know how long this is going to last because they play against the Rams this week, but again, you got to give them the benefit of the doubt. Going on to number 8. Moving up 1 spot as well, just like the Colts, the Commanders are my number 8 team. They just played against the Raiders and they beat them 41-24 with backup Marcus Mariota, which I haven't heard that name in forever. Crazy he was a first overall pick, but anyways, yeah, they put up a pretty good game. They had 270 yards passing. Marcus Mariota also had a touchdown pass. They had 201 yards rushing, and their special teams and defense did pretty good in this game. The Commanders had that really long punt return touchdowns. Their defense had 5 sacks against the Raiders. Now, granted, it is the Raiders and their offensive line, but again, scoring 40 points with their backup quarterback is pretty good. Jaden Daniels should be coming back next week. He was questionable going into this game, and like I said, he will be playing next game. But overall, the Commanders have been looking pretty good this year. In the first 3 games against the Packers was a different story, but they play against the Falcons next. That should be a nice little rebound game. Well, you never know. The freaking NFL is so weird, but Commanders are number 8. I like where they're going. Nice rebound game. Number 7. Moving down 4 spots is the Baltimore Ravens. I don't know what's going on with them. They just lost against the Lions 38-30 on Monday Night Football. And the biggest concern with the Ravens is definitely not their offense, because the offense is putting up points. It's the defense. But first, we're going to talk about the offense real quick. I mean, Lamar Jackson had 288 yards passing, 3 touchdowns on 21 completions for 27 attempts with a passing rate of 148. Lamar Jackson also had 35 yards on the ground. Derrick Henry had an okay game with 50 yards. It was a 28-yard run touchdown, which kind of inflated his stats a little bit. But, man, I mean, again, this game, but for the most part, the Lions had the game. It felt like it was close, but then, the Lions ended up blowing it up in the late of the game. But this Ravens defense has me really concerned. We all know that crazy comeback the Buffalo Bills had in week 1. Scoring like 26 points or something like that in the fourth quarter. It was something insane. A huge collapse there. Then the Browns, the Browns offense is the Browns offense. They did nothing. So the Ravens defense played good there, but then giving up 38 points, had no shot against this Lions defense or this Lions offense. It's starting to get a little questionable. They're ranked really, in the very bottom of the league with a lot of stats. They're not sacking the quarterback. I mean, it's not looking too good for the Ravens defense. Again, their offense is a top 3 overall offense. Their defense is a bottom 3 defense as of right now. Again, things can change. It's only week 4 now. Jair Alexander hasn't even been playing yet. That's just insane. But Ravens fans, it sucks. You guys go against the Chiefs next week, which will be a huge game. But yeah, your offense is all good. Defense, oof. Number 6 going at you right now. Moving up one spot in my power rankings from last week will be the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, sitting at number 6. The Bucs just beat the Jets 29-27 with the game-winning field goal. The Buccaneers were winning this game for, the most part of the game. It was a very comfortable lead until the fourth quarter happened, and woof, that was terrible. The Jets scored 21 points in the fourth quarter with the blocked field goal that was returned for a touchdown. That was looking a little scary, I'm not going to lie, but Baker Mayfield, he has been playing like an MVP this year. He had another game-winning drive against the Jets. He went 19 for 29 with 233 yards. He also had a passing touchdown with a quarterback rating of 101.7. Bucky Irvin had an okay game, 25 carries, 66 yards, and no touchdowns. Baker Mayfield also ran for 44 yards. And Emeka Egbuka was their leading receiver with 85 yards. This dude is a stud. And the Bucs defense, for the most part, for the first half of the game, was playing lights out until that second half was looking a little scary. And like I mentioned in a couple weeks ago, this Buccaneers defense has had me worried about a little bit. Their offense will be great. And now what sucks is that Mike Evans will be out for at least 3 to 4 weeks. That is a huge blow. Hopefully they can get Chris Godwin back this week. They're supposed to be back, Chris Godwin and Tristan Wirfs, but yeah, that is a huge blow, especially if Chris Godwin doesn't come back. Emeka Egbuka will have to carry the team on his back. Can he do it? Maybe. We'll see. He's only a rookie, but this Buccaneers offense has been playing lights out. Defense is a little questionable. Let's go on to number 5. And before I go to number 5 team, the Buccaneers play the Eagles. 2 3-0 teams, that is significant. And the Bucs beat the Eagles, they're going to be skyrocketing. Number 5. Staying at the number 5 position, even though they just had a huge win last night, will be the Detroit Lions. This Lions offense has been completely different ever since the Packers game. The very first week of the season, the Packers made them look like a high school team, but after that, they scored 50 against the Chicago Bears, and they just scored 38 against the Ravens in Baltimore, which is significant. But it wasn't because of Jared Goff this time. It was that running game. Jared Goff did have a nice game. He had 202 yards. He also had a touchdown passing. But like I said, the running game was all over. 12 carries for 151 yards. David Montgomery, 2 touchdowns. And of course, guess what? I benched in my fantasy team. Wahoo. And then he had Jahmyr Gibbs, 22 carries for 67 yards. Also 2 touchdowns. Yeah, this rushing game was feasting all over the Baltimore Ravens. Like I mentioned earlier, the Ravens defense is really concerning. Amon-Ra St. Brown also had a touchdown and 70 yards. Jameson Williams had a nice little first quarter, and then after that was non-existent. But this team scoring 38 points and 50 plus points against the Bears. Yeah, this offense is completely back. The coordinators are feeling really good again. And yeah, the Lions have been humming. Now, also forgot to mention too, the Lions defense had 7 sacks against the Ravens, which I can't remember the last time the defense had 7 sacks against the Ravens, because Lamar Jackson is obviously Lamar Jackson. We all know how he is. So yeah, you got to give the Lions a lot of credit here. The defense played really good, even though they gave up 30 points, but 7 sacks against him. They also created a turnover. Very good game by the Lions. They play against the Browns and the Bengals the next couple of games. Should be winnable games, but then against the NFL, you never know. But number 4, let's get into it. Moving down one spot, from the Green Bay Packers is the number 4 team. I said that a little weird. Yeah, it is what it is. I already did a video about the Packers and Browns game. I completely recapped that monster trash game. But long story short, I'll sort of kind of recap it here again. The Packers defense, no issues at all. They played great. You know, Micah Parsons played great. You know, Rashawn Gary had 2 sacks. That offense, Jordan Love looked really bad, and the offensive line was probably one of the worst offensive line grades I've seen in so long. I mean, it was putrid. They will have a bounce back game against the Cowboys, though. The Packers just always do that. They always sleep on the bad teams, and they play great against the good teams. It happens all the time. Last year was a little different story, but that's just how the Packers are. Am I concerned as a Packer fan? No. But they do deserve to drop down at least 1 spot, and I only think they're ahead of the Lions because we beat them early in the season, of course. I still think they could beat the Bucks. But yeah, number 3, let's get into it again. Moving up 3 spots in the power rankings this week will be the 3-0 Los Angeles Chargers. They have been playing amazing. They just had another game-winning field goal against the Denver Broncos, of which I feel so bad for Broncos fans because the Broncos could easily be 3-0, but we're not talking about right now. We're talking about the Chargers. They are 3-0. They played 3 divisional games. They beat the Chiefs, the Raiders, and now the Broncos. For your first 3 games, being 3-0, first off, is amazing, but being also 3-0 in your division, you cannot ask for anything more. Justin Herbert has been playing lights out. He did throw his first interception on the year. He also had 300 yards and 1 touchdown against the Broncos. He did get sacked 5 times, so that offensive line was looking a little weak there. Amarion Hampton also, had a nice little game, 19 carries for 70 yards. He had a touchdown, but dude, the Chargers defense has been playing great. So far this year, the defense has had 3 interceptions and 7 sacks. Again, the defense has been holding on their own. And against the Chiefs, you know, supposed to be a really good offense there first week of the season. They also played against the Raiders, which is supposed to have, you know, of course, Ashton Genty, you know, really good running back and nice little weapons there. And then the Broncos, who have Bo Nix. Again, any divisional game is massive. Every game is close. Gotta give the Chargers a lot of credit here, and their schedule is going to get easier. The Chargers, they're probably going to end up winning the AFC West. They might go even higher than number 3 throughout the season, in my opinion. But let's get into number 2 team and a number 1 team. The number 2 team that's also 3-0 will be the Buffalo Bills. They beat the Miami Dolphins 31-21 on Thursday Night Football, which felt like a long time ago. Josh Allen, of course, doing Josh Allen things. 3 touchdown passes on 213 yards. He also had 25 yards on the ground. James Cook was cooking up again with 19 carries for 108 yards and 1 touchdown. This Buffalo Bills offense is just crazy good. I mean, so far, Josh Allen hasn't thrown an interception yet. He has 5 touchdowns in 3 games. That's pretty good. And remember, he missed some of the Jets game with a messed up nose or something like that. James Cook is playing phenomenal these last 2 games. The Bills defense is a little questionable. They had some pieces missing. Matt Milano should be back. Ed Oliver should be back for the next game. And they also play against the Saints next game, so that should be a complete slaughter fest there. But the Bills, I mean, they're going to win the AFC East. I don't see the Dolphins doing anything this year, of course, because they're 0-3. Same with the Jets. They're 0-3. And the Patriots, they're 1-2 as of right now, but we'll see what happens with them. They had 2 really bad losses, but man, the Bills should be winning the AFC East. Again, just like the Chargers, they should not be any lower than like a 5 spot in my power rankings, but the number 1 team will be the Eagles, and that was a crazy game too. Like, the Eagles just played the Rams, and this game for the first 3 quarters was a blowout. I think it was like 26-9 at some point in the 3rd quarter, and then after that, the Eagles just took the game over. Jalen Hurts only had like 20 passing yards or something in the first half, and then he ended off the game with 226 yards on 3 touchdowns. He did get sacked 4 times, but Jalen Hurts put the team on his back, came back against a really good Rams defense, by the way, and they're not no joke. Saquon Barkley has been struggling a little bit so far this year. He had 18 carries for 46 yards in this game, and Jalen Hurts, of course, had a rushing touchdown. Wahoo, that doesn't shock me at all. But like I've mentioned many times in my videos before, the Super Bowl champion. They're always going to be number one until proven otherwise. And so far, they are 3-0. They're beating teams. Like, they came back against the freaking Rams. They had to win against the Cowboys. They had a really good game on the road against the Chiefs. The Eagles, are they winning pretty? No, they're winning pretty ugly games. But at the end of the day, if you have more points than the other team, of course, you obviously win. That was pretty silly of me to say that. But they're winning ugly. But guess what? They're coming back. They're putting up really good fourth quarters against really good teams, by the way. You got to give them a lot of credit. I know a lot of people don't want to see them do good, and that includes me because, you know, of course, the Eagles knocked the Packers out of the playoffs last year. But that wraps up this video. If you do like it, hit that like button and comment down below your biggest reaction. But I'm out of here. Deuces.